Hi, everybody. JP here from Modernizing Management. So we're here today with Enrico Alfonso, Jason Cogan,
Right.
and myself, having the webinar on AlfonzoWords. So just before I introduce our panelists and our guests, I'll just do a bit of housekeeping. So the audience is muted. If you would like to engage with the panelists, please just post your questions and answers either on the chat or on the Q&A. We will pick those up. Craig will monitor the chat and the Q&A. He'll either respond through text on the chat, or he will notify us that we can address it on the, or we will address it on the webinar. So without further ado, I think we can move over to the agenda that we have today. So we have we'll start with the panel introductions, and then have a talk around AlfonzoWords. So without further ado, let's say a heartily welcome to Enrico for joining us today. So Mr. AlfonzoWords, thank you very much. So
Right. Thanks for having
great
me.
to
It's
be
good to
here.
be here. I'm excited about this. I'm keen to see sort of your introductions and how modern management fits into the AI, and
Yeah,
then yeah, just take it from there and explain, what I do
yeah.
and what I am. So Alfonso, so do I just go into the introduction of
Yeah,
Alfonso Words?
please. Well, yeah,
All right,
introduce
great.
yourself. Yeah, yeah. Well,
Okay,
we'll
so
go into the introduction as to what you do. So maybe just introduce yourself, and then JC can introduce himself, and then we'll go
yeah.
into the webinar.
All right, cool. So my name is Enrico Alfonso. I run Alfonso Words, which is basically a social media influencer brand. We do social media marketing, we do blog posts, we do giveaways, we do just content that's relatable to everyday people and it gets them excited. A lot of my branding is geek centered. So like with Comic Con coming up, I'm full into that. So yeah, that's my brand and that's what we're kicking off with social media and the groups with that. So yes, Jason, on to you.
Sure, thanks, Enrico. So my name's Jason Cogan, working for Analytics to Insights and pretty much responsible for the whole, I guess, back-end workings of the system and also developing this app that we are going to be seeing today.
Great. Thanks, Jess. So hi, everybody. JP here from Modernizing Management. So I'm the MD of the company and Modernizing Management based in South Africa in Johannesburg. Also developed the Analytics to Insights service. So that's the service, of course, that's enabled, or somewhat to an extent enabled Enrico to be successful, also more successful, and get that customer retention rate up. So great, Enrico. So it's been really great. I've been getting all the good feedback from JC around the collaboration, around the Twitter app that you guys have been working together. So thanks for that support. I think really great to be able to collaborate and really get into the analytics, what you need in order to successfully service a customer, right? So to give them the stats and especially in a world like social media where there's a huge bunch of data, it's not that easy to kind of track and monitor. We're experiencing it ourselves, with other medias. So we're looking to expand this across all the media so that we can use it ourselves as well, and work with great people like you. So thank you very much, first of all, for collaborating with us, and then and of course today. So thanks so much for doing this. I think really great to work and do this webinar together with you. So let's have some fun, and then we'll get to that 80%, right? We'll get to how you have
I think
improved
that's more towards
potential.
I think that's more towards the
So,
end. But like, okay, so I know you talked about just now about um you know getting the feedback out there. So I actually found out about A2 Insights at the SAID convention.
Sage.
I think it was. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay.
And we actually took it on because of the accounting platform and the analytics for that.
Oh, yes,
Because my mom
Vanguard. Yes, I recall.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
so
Okay.
that was the primary need for the analytics, right? But then I was also given the Twitter analytics to like sort of use and figure out what to do with it. So yeah, so once I started running these campaigns, these social media campaigns, um, like you were saying, pooling data,
Mhm.
especially for social media. It's so hard because you've got multiple participants. They've all got their own sort of exposure and reach. And to try and figure out now, okay, I ran this campaign, what exactly happened?
Mhm.
There's the guerrilla method of asking each and every single one of them to put their stats down, and that's just like spreadsheet after spreadsheet. It gets too complicated, and it reminds me of like or those old admin days where you had to like sit for hours on ends and try to um you know what's that
Work the
word that
numbers. Work the numbers and
yeah,
try not
yeah.
to get it
And
wrong. Yeah.
there's that
You felt
thing
like
where
an
you like
accountant.
you know there's that thing where you like you put you like pivot the different columns to like make sure they match, ah to take out
Oh,
duplicates.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
solved. Yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe
Okay. So just to introduce
yeah. Take
the
us
social
through your
media
process.
campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So the process. Okay. So what actually happens is a client will come to us and say they've got this new product launching, or they've got this giveaway running, or let's say they've got a specific day campaign. Like let's say it's a Father's Day campaign, right? So those are specific campaigns on the day, and they want a bunch of influencers to come in and sort of hype that product, you know, because nowadays 90% of people are online, right?
Yes.
90% of them are scrolling through their phones, looking at content online, and about 76% of them are going by online recommendations, not even by friends or family. It's just they see someone doing something organic and saying like, let's say, I bought this foot massager. It's so amazing. I don't have any aches and pains anymore after work.
Yeah.
Something simple like that. They'll take that recommendation more than an ad popping up saying buy this foot massager and get 20% off. You
Yeah.
know, they don't want to see that anymore. That's what the consumer doesn't want to see anymore. They want to see somebody that's saying something organic about it.
Yes.
That's real, that they can relate to. They look at the profile, it's a fellow mom,
Yeah.
she's going through the same struggles, let me take this on, right? So we run the campaign, let's say 12 influencers is the base. Sometimes it can go up to 50 people, so it gets crazy. um, and what had happened was after a campaign, we there's not really like a set way to sort of give feedback, you know I
Mhm.
haven't seen like a template that anybody's got that they give feedback to the back to the client and say this is exactly what happened with the campaign.
Exactly.
There's
Yeah.
standard words like comment, sentiment, exposure levels, likes, comments, shares, that kind of thing. There's standard words, but
Yeah.
nobody has like a set way to give clients feedback.
You
And what I love about
they can't
insights,
give the why, right? So they can give the stats, but they can't say why, right? So that's what's missing when you're dealing with reporting versus analytics is the why and how you were able to achieve that.
yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's just that pooling of data. It's to say, because our game is not sales, right? We're
Yes.
marketing. We're not here to tell you
Exactly.
I'm going
Yeah.
to get you like 50 sales in a day. That's nobody can promise that anyway. So we are exposure, right? That's what our primary aim is. We're part of the digital marketing sphere, right? Because there's still Google AdWords, there's still a lot of other stuff that falls into digital marketing
Mhm.
before you even get to the sales funnel. So we're one segment of that, right? We're part of that social media bundle in there,
Yeah.
um, that tweets, that shares, that Insta stories, all of that. That's where we fall under. Okay,
100,
so
yeah,
my main goal clients, and that's where that 80% comes into, is to tell them how much exposure we got them, right?
yep,
To make up for not telling them how much sales they got or something like that.
yeah,
Our main primary concern is to give the marketing department of that client or that brand how much exposure they've got, and then now they've got to take that exposure, do the different stages of digital marketing, and feed it into their sales team, if that
yeah,
makes sense.
100%. Yeah, definitely.
Right.
So
So
that's
that's the
the full.
process. I run the campaign. I load the hashtag onto my A2I Insights Hub,
Yeah,
and eventually by like the next day or even like a few hours later, all the data for the campaign will load, and I'll be able to sort of give feedback to a client.
yeah, fantastic, fantastic. So our analytical application monitors and analyzes the hashtags, right? So what's the importance of a good or unique hashtag, I would say? And then maybe, you're good enough to show us your app. So maybe if you share the screen and talk us through, maybe some of those hashtags.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of unique hashtags and obviously creating a campaign that gives the client buzz,
Yeah.
we usually use a unique hashtag. So sometimes it's the client's brand name, and sometimes their marketing department will have a hashtag. So, like, let's say for a movie, for example, right? Everybody's going to be posting on that movie hashtag. How do you make it unique? By saying, let's say Polaroid movie SA,
Mm-hmm.
right? So everybody that's when we make that trend, that's what the South Africans are looking at. They're not looking at
Yes.
the American tweets. They're not looking at the trending tweets from the other places in the planet. They're looking at catered tweets that's specific to the brand.
Yeah. 100%.
So, for example, Netflix, right? I love Netflix. We were invited to the first ever fan event, and
Mm-hmm.
from there, we sort of came up with the idea of the Netflix Watch Club, which is basically like a book club, but for Netflix. Because people watch that on the daily, and then they just need a sort of an outlet
Yeah.
to fan out about something. So what had happened was Jason actually, and I'll talk to you about that in a minute. He had told me about how when hashtags are used in different spellings, it doesn't necessarily contribute towards the full level of exposure you want.
Yeah.
Okay, so with my watch club, I made sure that we used one spelling. So all the beginnings of the letters are capital letters.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Netflix Watch Club. Actually, let me share my screen.
That would be great. Yeah. So I'll stop sharing from here. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this is my full analytics hub. Apparently, I'm going on almost 500,000 tweets there, yo.
Oh,
Okay, that is crazy. But I think
Slightly busy.
that's
Yeah.
with all the grouping. Okay, so usually I come here and I'll click on a grouping. So that's what Jason's got it set up as, where it sort of groups everything that falls under this sort of banner.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay, so let's click on the Netflix Watch Club. Yeah, okay. So, but basically it's capital N, capital W, capital C, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we promoted the hashtag. So
Okay.
everybody's that way. And now even when it self-populates actually on Twitter, and that's the aim, to get it to self-populate.
Yeah.
So whenever anybody types in Netflix, the Watch Club is like right there, maybe like the third option that they can select.
Nice.
So that's why we've been getting tweets from like India and Australia and all these other places, because they think the Watch Club is part of that side of the world too.
Okay.
So that was the great thing about unique hashtags. And then Jason can talk to you about this page here. I think it's
So
this
I
one.
think that's one of the reason why he's showing even the small letter. That's the fuzzy type work that you did, right? So
Yeah,
that
so what we do Yeah, what we do from an analytical perspective, at least when we're loading the data itself, we're trying to remove every up and down character, every possibility that there is. So we literally just make sure we make everything lowercase, so that we can show all the groupings together. Where we show the differences in hashtags is where we do then the hashtag lost potential sheet, which we'll show a little bit in a bit there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Jay, you built the Twitter app. I mean, what was your objective with that?
Well, with help from our great team, so not take all the credit itself, but yeah, but yeah, so
we're responsible.
I suppose so. So yeah, so the biggest thing obviously around the Twitter application was to be able to load in your different accounts, your different hashtags, keywords, things like that that you want to search, and start tracking around that. And we looked at different approaches. So like even in the application, we cater for response times as well. So if you are a company that focuses on Twitter responses, so you're, I don't know, not a marketing company, a sort of a bank, for example, right? You can obviously sign up for our service, and then you can start tracking what everyone's saying around your product and your brand. And the key thing is to be able to respond fast enough to your end users, because response is key. Because you'll have a case where someone will tweet something very negative, and if you do not respond fast enough, then that thing goes a little bit viral, and it can get a little bit out of hand. So we wanted to showcase that whole response time of how quickly you're responding to your end users. What's their responses, making sure that you're
the example you used there was like Nando's or something like that. One of the big brands that's like if they saw that their response rate is like 40%, then they could sort of strategize to respond faster, or maybe like respond in the morning to everything from the previous day.
Yeah, correct. So yeah, so we take care of the response times, and then obviously then we look at the actual tweets themselves and the hashtags, and how are you using those hashtags, and that's around the lost potential, and then obviously the flow that we saw just now from
Explain a little bit the lost potential.
So the idea around it at the current stage, how we've implemented it, like,
is that this one? Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
Let's go to that one then.
Okay. Let's have a look at the stats. So the idea around here is what you can see is you have a hashtag like Netflix Watch Club. How many different ways can you actually type Netflix Watch Club? Because the problem is that it is unique, right? Well, your hashtag has to be unique. Otherwise, like Alfonso mentioned, you start missing things. And you start missing possible tweets and capturing. And like you said, now you're actually getting the autofills on your tweets when you're actually focusing there. So what we're trying to showcase first off is all the different ways you can type a hashtag. Next process, what we're moving into is how you can do, what we're going to do is fuzzy search around those hashtags as well. So start picking up spelling mistakes and any different sort of ways you could write it. So not just capitalization or anything like that, actual different spellings or whatever, and catching those ones as well.
So okay, so this will actually then help you to be so that you don't lose opportunities if somebody responds to the hashtag incorrectly. Okay, so and that happens all the time, right?
Well, think about it this way. The biggest thing is your influencers, right? So your influencers, you're telling them now to go and tweet and continue onwards with that hashtag. Now, if they start using the wrong hashtag, then you're kind of missing the train altogether. So it's to just make sure that everyone is speaking exactly the same message going through it, and being able to highlight.
That's why the self-populating is such a big thing, because when anybody types that, the spelling is already there for them. So even if they want to type all small letters or all capital letters, the self-population will be there. So they can just click on that and it will have the correct spelling anyway.
Yeah, 100%. So let's continue. Let's do a poll quickly. I'm gonna launch the poll. And I think
Okay.
everybody should get the poll over there. Let's go for the first question, which is, do you perform marketing activities for yourself or company using social media? So maybe if everybody can respond to that, I've activated it for the what do you call this, the panelists as well, but I at least can't. Okay.
What social media platforms do you use? We can't tick all of them, right?
Yeah, it's multi option. So let's have a look
Yeah, so literally I use all of them.
at those. Yeah. So if all the audience can respond to the poll as well, then we can get some numbers, so we can understand also who the audience is.
I actually don't know some of these other analyst tools. Social Report, Bandwatch, Sprout Social. Haven't even heard of them. When they're done, do they just say to me?
Yeah. So far, we got some Social Report, Hootsuite, and others. Yeah.
Hootsuite. It's Hootsuite.
Oh, okay. Hootsuite. Yeah. Hootsuite. Sorry.
It's not Afrikaans, Jason. I thought it was also.
Okay, so if maybe then if you how do you engage with your customers around the analytics, Enrico? So do you take them through the app, or do you take snapshots of the app? Do you create a story?
Yeah, so let me share the other screen with you.
Yeah.
I've got an example of feedback.
Sure.
All right, share. Okay, so can everyone see that?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, cool. So what I've begun to do, right, because your analytics specifically is very on the physicality of tweets, so it tells you more on how many tweets were they, how many of those tweets are retweets, how many of those are mentions, how many of those are replies, and how many of them are just actual tweets, right? So that's the sort of breakdown that your app does. Okay.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned in the beginning, our main primary concern when reporting to clients is exposure, right? That's what we're pushing with every client. Okay. And that's what most marketing companies, most marketing departments want. They want to know how much sort of people were you able to reach while you did this campaign. Obviously, trending is like a universal term. Everybody understands that. You say you trended, that's like more than enough for anybody, right? But they want to know on trend levels, how did you get to that? And if it did trend, how much of that was exposure? So sometimes it can trend with literally one tweet, and you'll only get like about, let's say, 200,000 exposure, right? Whereas other campaigns are run throughout the day and they gain like over 1 million plus something exposure. Okay. So that's what they want to know specifically, how much exposure you did, because then they keep a log of it and it tells them over time how much exposure we're reaching each time we do these campaigns. Okay. And that's a lot of retention, because if you can give them a consistent sort of feedback, then it's sort of like the way it works in any company, the way it works with any supplier. If the supplier is giving you the goods and they're good quality, you're going to hire them every single month. You're going to have them on retainer. You're going to keep them around so that they give you the same level, and maybe always try and aim higher every time they run it.
Absolutely.
So that's sort of also what I wanted to speak to you guys about, because like I said, after a campaign, the main thing is exposure, right? So if you look at these two columns here first, this is actually taken from a free site, so it's not 100% accurate, and look at it only takes the last 100 tweets. So sometimes we go way over 100 tweets in a campaign, because it's like almost 10 tweets per influencer. So that's already 100 tweets, right? And if you count replies, if you count quote retweets, or what it's called now, retweet with comment, it becomes a whole lot more. So we can't actually gauge the full exposure of a campaign. And I think if we get that on your app, that's like the only thing missing. Once we have that, it's literally like full sail, full engines go with every client. I can send that to all of them every single time we run a campaign. And
we have spoken about this, so this is definitely one of the next things to put in. Yeah.
Sense. Yeah, that's like in game, because how can I that retention rate will jump even higher, because that's again what I was talking about with suppliers. That's when they know you're good. When you show them that exposure level every single time, and they're like, oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're building brand, right? So people have different reasons for running different campaigns. So exposure would be really good in somebody that wants to build brand and a following. So once you have the following, then of course it's about the engagement and sharing information. So you want to, you have the funnel that you're managing in marketing, right? So to get people to, from cold where they don't know about you, through the funnel, of course, to engaging and sharing with you, collaborating with you, etc. So yeah, excellent.
Great. Okay, yeah. So on the physicality side of what you do offer in the meantime, this is what I do like. So it shows you the full amount of tweets, and then like you're talking about the engagement level. So then we see how many actual people have been involved in this campaign since the beginning, okay, that have tweeted. And then you look at how many mentions there are, how many hashtags have fitted. I think, Jason, is this the number of hashtags that fit together with the Netflix Watch Club, or just how many times people have hashtag?
No, you're correct. So it's how many hashtags have been included with the Netflix Watch Club.
Okay, perfect. And then this is what I like. So this is how many retweets. So that's amazing. We've already got 100K retweets under our belt. That's amazing. We really recently started. That's really good. Yeah, that's just people retweeting the tweets. Okay, so I want to show you what I do. So yeah, like you were saying, I do screenshots. Okay, so I've got one from the beginning here, when there was only 600 tweets in total from the first campaign, and then now it jumped to 16,000. Sorry. Okay, so that's sort of how I show progress. I put the physicality of the tweets, and then I put the screenshots of the difference between them.
Okay. So I think we need to move over to stories next as well. Get Enrico to put it.
Is that the one? Is that the one where you can sort of send screenshots to like a storyboard, and then it prints out like a presentation?
Exactly. Yeah. So the stories is where you can compile your report for your customers.
I love that concept.
Yeah, we'll show you how to. We actually just launched all our training videos, Enrico. So the training, there's a little training. It's probably like 5 minutes. Training video around how to create and manage your storage. So there's, instead of you using Excel, you can then stay within Analytics to Insights app, and then within the app create your story that's actually linked to your data. So you put your context in there for the customer, and then you link that to the data, so you can explore your data at the same time that you're engaging and giving feedback to your customer. We'll show you how to do that. That's super strong from an advisory point of view, super strong capability. So maybe then
I just want it to be an attachment that I can put it in a mail,
Yes.
And
exactly.
If it's just, because that's way easier than just actually putting it on Excel, because I would like it in like a presentation mode, because I think people are finally moving away from Excel now, and I want to follow with that trend.
So that's because we have stories. It's the reason we didn't build any kind of structured reports, for the system, because with the accounting world, you have structured, the income statement, balance sheet, trial balance, and then we do some free, like performance report that we came up with, what a business owner wants to see about his business every day. So
I saw that 10% profit loss and that kind of thing. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So the stories is completely flexible. You can build it any way you want. So let's move over to the app again. So Enrico, if you could show the app again, then JC, maybe you could quickly take us through the different tabs that are in the app, just as an overview. Like, you know, let's spend a minute or two on it. There's not that many tabs, I guess, or sheets.
Okay, so must I click into it? Or
if you just go to dashboard, let's start on the dashboard, Enrico, and JC can just take us through the app quick and tell us what's covered.
Sure. So yeah, so what we're pretty much focusing on the dashboard side of things is obviously looking from what users are interacting, top 50, what hashtags are interacting, what channels are interacting, and then how you're looking from a neutral, negative, and positive sentiment across all your tweets and retweets and replies. So obviously, depending on what sort of Twitter user you are, if you're an organization like a bank or a retail outlet or something like that, you're going to be focusing more on tweets than retweets, right? If you are an influencer or someone that's promoting a brand on Twitter, you know, you're focusing more on retweets on that than actual tweets themselves, because your influencer is going to send out your tweets and you're hoping that it's actually going to spread like wildfire there afterwards, like Enrico showed, you know, with 100,000 plus there. But the main thing that we're able to at least give from a campaign management perspective is obviously being able to filter out when was the campaign run, the year, the month, the date, what campaign are you looking at, or what search terms, so the grouping, what username, so do you want to focus on specific people, what hashtags, and obviously what keywords around those tweets. So the keywords obviously being quite important, where we don't look at I am, is, you know, those sort of things. We cut out all the other noise. Enrico, you mind staying on the app there? I think you've switched to Twitter. I know you got.
Does it switch, or I thought it stays on the page?
No, it switches.
Oh, okay, never mind. I'll stay here. Carry on, Jason. Sorry.
No problem.
I thought I was multitasking.
You were.
Yeah, okay, I was, but I thought I was like doing it undercover.
You gotta make money somewhere, right? Yeah. Doing some of your day job here.
No, dude, it's like two jobs in one that I've got to do while we're doing this. So, yeah.
Cool, no problem. So yeah, then the biggest thing that we wanted to showcase at least is the day of week and hour of day. So the importance around that obviously is when you're looking at something like the Netflix Watch Club, right? And we're looking at that hashtag specifically at the moment. We can see straight away that on Sunday is the most times that tweet has ever been mentioned. And then obviously at 3 o'clock in the afternoon is when the most time. So Enrico, I'm not sure if that's when you actually start your campaigns. Is it 3 o'clock?
That's the hour that we do the club. So actually, if we go out of that grouping, did I not exit there?
Just clear from on the top there.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, so you're talking about this hour of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so this works well for us in terms of scheduling as well. You know?
Yeah,
so if we see
getting the engagements,
Yes, so if we see that we're getting more engagement here towards, I don't know, what is that, the end of the day?
Yeah, that's at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, 10 o'clock,
yeah.
Wow, okay, weird, but okay. So that's when I'll know now to schedule tweets and stuff during that time of the day to get the most exposure.
Super.
Yeah.
Maybe let's go to the next sheet.
Yeah. So maybe if you stick with the grouping of Netflix Watch Club, so we can just sort of keep it a little bit lower there. We don't need to see all 430,000 tweets.
Not now.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we're going to hashtag flow, right?
Yeah, that is obviously the benefit, is that we can show all the tweets that you have. So we're not restricting you from when you start. So yeah, what we're trying to say around the hashtag flow is at least show from the left-hand side, so being your grouping, what you're trying to follow, how does that flow through to the usernames? So who's your top users busy tweeting, retweeting, and all that? How does it flow from the user into what type of tweet? So as we can see, the majority is the retweets. And then what is the end? So out of that grouping, even though we're following Netflix Watch Club, what are the other hashtags that are brought through as well? So we can see definitely things like Stranger Things and The Perfect Date. So I mean, that's obviously the other movies and series that you've been promoting in that. That's coming through and showing when we're just looking for the Netflix Watch Club piece. Okay,
Wow, it's amazing to see that the first event that we did the most filtered through as like top 2 there. The Perfect Date was like first one we did, and it's still ranking as the top. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Let's go on to the next sheet. Yeah, I think we did speak quite a bit around this, but yeah, so the lost potential. So looking and just making sure that we're keeping the hashtags nice and clean for the campaigns and that no one's mixing and matching. So at least you're getting that clear and concise message through to all the end users.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's Fluffy though? Like, how does Fluffy fit into this? I don't understand.
Fluffy was a hashtag that would have been caught from one of the tweets that you're following in the Netflix Watch Club. So somewhere there was the word Fluffy, and apparently there's a 45% loss on it. So in other words, there are probably multiple different ways to case Fluffy. You know, capital F, all small, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's the strange thing.
That's really unique one.
I know. Enrico's gonna go look for that one now.
Yeah, I'm like,
just go and search through your hashtags. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go to the next one. Just hit the right arrow there, Enrico. You want to go to the next one.
oh right, okay, duh. Sorry.
That's true. So what we look at on the tweet sheet is we're literally showing you every tweet that we're talking about. So all 17,930 tweets, they're all listed there. Who, what time, what was the type? So was it a tweet, a retweet, a reply? What time was it? Who did it? What's their username? What's the user? If it is a retweet, how many times at that moment was it retweeted? What is the tweet itself? And then we break down the user's details. So even if we take the fourth one there, the Netflix Watch Club, we can see the details there of how many they're following as of when that tweet was made. How many tweets did they do? How many people are they following? Their followers, their likes, and what's the grouping? So is it official or other? So official obviously being what you've loaded into the analytics to insight system. Other being things that picks up that someone might have retweeted in that from there. And then if we're lucky enough to get data, yeah. And obviously if we're lucky enough, then when the tweet word there is highlighted with blue, that means we can actually click on that and go to the direct tweet on Twitter. So that's obviously when the Twitter API decides to give us that information. If we go to the next sheet.
Actually, I just want to say what I like about this is that if you click on the column, it actually filters through highest to lowest. I think, is that it, right? Yeah.
That is correct.
So you can actually see, you know, who's your top followers, who's got the most influence that's actually tweeting about you, and you can sort of give them, I guess, more buzz or just pay more attention to them, you know?
Exactly.
And that really helps. I think that's a big plus, is that you can sort of filter these columns to the highest to the lowest, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you are having a relationship with your audience. Right?
Yes, JP, that's a big point, because what it is it's building relationships online, right?
Yes.
Never before has it been so easy for you to connect with your customers. All right?
Exactly.
It's a direct line, you know? You're actually talking to them about your product directly, you know? And you've got to take care of your top fans. You know, you've got to take care of the people that have the most influence, that is, you know, sort of a fan of your brand.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, next one.
So then we start moving into the trend side of things. So if Enrico, maybe you change the grouping to the Netflix Watch Club above, because that's the actual account then.
Okay.
or just include it in your selection there.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah. So at least what we get from here, what we're trying to show is from an account, if there is one, obviously if you're following hashtags, so if your groupings is a hashtag, which originally you started off with, the Netflix watch.
Oh, actually, okay, I actually need a screenshot of this. Wait, hold on. This is actually what this is what I was looking for, dude. Remember I told you this is what the client wanted to see, even.
Yeah, exactly. So this is it. So obviously at first when you started following the hashtag itself, and then later on added in the account. So the Netflix Watch CLB. So now we're looking at that, where at least we can show what was the top 50 conversations by tweets, how was their their followers. So we can see from 2019 May started off with 84 followers all the way up until September, now being 1,484 followers. So a nice good growth, and obviously that will keep going. And then also showing by day as well, so how you're increasing by day as opposed to the month, from up to top there.
That's brilliant. That's exactly what I want.
The time series is important. I mean,
correct. Yeah.
You obviously need to see,
especially if you're managing an account for a client. You know, like if you take over their brand account, you know, you want to show them, since I took over, how much has it grown over time? You know.
Yeah, I mean that's a massive move in like 5 months. That's.
And then, okay, so Jason, on this top conversation threads, how can we sort of use that? Like, do we click into the tweet, or how does it work?
It's literally just a sort of high level or an overview going from highest to lowest tweet. So the top line being.
Okay, great. Yeah, we did say this was our highest tweet, so
that's
I'm happy that it shows that.
Yeah. Correct.
So I think it's also an exception view, so you can see where the sentiment is. So obviously you want to scroll down these and just see if there's any negative sentiments getting some air. Yeah. So on your top 50, I mean, you're not of course go through. You have the whole list of all the tweets on the previous pages, but here it's a top 50 view, so you can just see, is anybody getting any traction with negative sentiment around your campaign.
Yeah.
And of course, change that message.
Was our highest tweet. We were able to like sort of highlight it and say this was the highest tweet.
Yeah, and learn what works. Right. So
exactly. What works. Yeah. Okay. So next one, trends 2.
Yeah, and obviously some analytics around it. So being able to, we're looking at the single grouping at the current moment now. But if you click on the button, maybe tweet types there. So being able to see over time how the tweet's going according to Netflix Watch Club. Obviously, this is now by the month, but you can literally go on a point and you can scroll in with your mouse, or you can select a certain portion, and then that will literally drill into that time period as well.
If you use the rolling thing on your mouse. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So now we're going at least deeper into the day, and looking at, so obviously the further you're zoomed out, that looks more at the months, whereas obviously zooming in, then we'll start breaking it into the days and that, so seeing how things are working. And then being able to, like you're doing, selecting that time period and then analyzing the tweets around that time period as well. And then same sort of view, but now just looking at the sentiment side, so at least being able to see when has there been heavy spikes of negative sentiment. So if you're looking more around on the right-hand side with the 361 of the second spike from the high one, that shows you that there's, a lot of negative talk around in that time period.
Do you mean this one here?
Yeah.
Oh, what is that though? Why did it get so negative?
Like I've seen a couple of your tweets, it's just around the specifically the Netflix Watch Club. It's just what you're promoting has got a negative, how can I say, description around it, not negative. Yeah, the content is negative. So that's why that's higher showing. So we're constantly trying to analyze and see how we can better the whole sentiment process. we're looking at different engines and that. So I mean, look, this is not a perfect world that we work in, so we're trying to at least highlight possibly where there are bigger negative sentiment spikes and that.
But like in that sense, I mean, that is something to like look into, right? I mean, to see what was negative and
Correct.
if it's something you can fix. If it's a general negativity under the context, then there's not much you can change there because that's like sort of a wider scope, you know? Like obviously, like I would think 13 Reasons Why would have like a sort of a negative space to it, you know? So
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, next.
I'm just conscious about time. We're coming up to 14 minutes left on the webinar, and I do want to allow for some questions. So
let's
we talked about time series here, but so Enrico, I mean, you know, what's your feeling about the analytics and what would make it unique? I mean, for your world, so you work between analytical application and Excel, basically. What makes it unique? Why did you jump on board and take our service versus
if I share
some reporting capability, for instance?
Yeah. Okay, so it works in tandem when I give the feedback to the client, and as you can see there, sort of give them a short description of the analytics, you know, like sort of pointers on how the brand can expand, you know, basically like just a bullet point form of what's happening with the campaign and what we can do in the future, you know, like market research will do to like sort of make it more viral and more noticeable. Like,
so you're able to find some insights from the analytics that you can communicate and improve on with the customer.
I'll talk on the exposure level. I'll talk how many retweets we hit. You know, so we hit over 900 retweets, which is like no small feat. You know, and it was only with 12 influencers. So that's crazy. You know, just with 12 influencers, we were able to reach. So it's sort of like saying, this is what we reached with 12 influencers. Think about what we'll reach with more, you know? And that's, I think, that's what retains them. That's what brings it to that 80%. It's just giving them advice on how to better cater for the campaigns.
Very nice. So, Jace, what's next? What have you guys got a plan? I mean, how are you going to rock the boat going forward?
Well, obviously the big thing is the like we spoke about, the whole impressions, what we're looking into that. Then another thing is we're looking at what's trending now, so being able to give a sort of simple view geographically of what's trending. So if you're an influencer, you can at least open up the app, immediately see what's trending on Twitter. It's got nothing to do with what you're following, so it's literally going to be as of at that moment what's trending, and maybe you want to jump on. You know, you actually want to jump on to what's there and continue and, you know, push that branding from that side of things. Obviously, the biggest thing is moving
associate with it.
Yeah. Obviously, the biggest thing is moving into the other social media tools. So Facebook and Instagram, that's what we'll be moving into next. And definitely combining all the social media platforms as well. So
I think we're getting a 2 thumbs way up from Enrico over there,
yeah. I think the next stage is definitely Instagram, because that's the second most campaigns we do, and Instagram is at the top, dude. If you get Instagram, it'll be epic.
I also want to. We spend a lot of money on Facebook. I want to see where it's going. What's working, what's not working. So we'll work on it.
Okay. Facebook
put some pressure, Enrico. Come on, let's get it done. So maybe okay. So you've shown us now, and I guess that if I look at the model and how you're engaging with your customers, and then able to take them through the analytics, and then of course you put it all together on a presentation for them, or in Excel in this case, moving to stories in the future, short term, no doubt. We'll set up a quick training for you tomorrow morning, and then taking the insights and putting it into an email and then sending it to the customer, but yet having that statistical proof that you can actually fall back, which is the analytics, right? So would you say that? you've been able
Yeah,
to.
and what I'd like it to be is more automated in an update. You know, instead of me only sending the stats
Yeah,
like after every campaign, especially if we're retaining a client, I can send them feedback constantly, you know, because
yes,
it's just screens. I just screenshot those screens, put it in a presentation, send it on an email. This is the update for, you know, 9016, you know, just like that.
yes, yeah. So
And
maybe
then
then an on-demand report. So I mean, you guys can definitely work on an on-demand report. So structuring a report the way that you compile your analytics for your customer, and then whenever you need it, you make your selections, you push a button, and you get that PDF in your email. So on-demand is
100%. But
something
like I
we're,
said,
we're actually
for now,
launching.
it's just that main dashboard screen that sort of shows that encompasses the campaign
Yes.
and, you know, maybe that follower screen. But for now, it's just that main dashboard screen that I share with them.
Yeah, hundreds. So I think we can put it together. I mean, we're about to launch the on-demand. We're doing it for the accounting solution for the management reports, and we can easily just incorporate a report for you in that.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys get this on the app, on the mobile app that you were talking about, if I can like,
Yeah.
while I'm at an event, you know, and networking with a client, and just pull up on the app, look, this is the last campaign we ran. This is the exposure. That's like golden. That's like sold on the spot, literally. You know,
Yeah.
that's like hire me right now.
And keep me because I'm that good. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically,
Excellent.
yeah.
So I'm gonna go. I'm
I
gonna.
mean, it's not, but dude, it's not about me though. I mean, it's all the influences working together as a collective. That's my aim. It's really not about me. Like, it's more about influences actually working together instead of
Exactly,
them having.
which is great, right? Is that normally how it goes? Because I wanted
Yes,
to.
because
I
so
wanted
what
to
I've
ask
what
this
I've what
earlier.
I've noticed before I started these campaigns was that influencers were charging like 3 grand, just themselves individually to do a campaign, instead of, you know, just where we say now, give us that money, we'll put 30 people in and we'll hype that to a whole other level. You know, so it's a much more like bang for your buck kind of way, in the sense that the client gets more out of it than
Yeah,
the influence, so that when that hype actually reaches a level, that client wants to retain us, and that's more money over time, basically, for us.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's about the insights that you can find, communicate to the customer, and they can actually act on that, right? And you can act on that. So you can put okay, let's action X, Y, Z for the next week. Monitor how are we doing, you know, because we have the time series analysis there. And I mean, you know, like a finding for you, where you when you look at all your campaigns, the engagement actually was there from 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock, right? Which surprised you on this webcast. So, you know, that kind of stuff, it's what companies are looking for. You know, those insights, and how you know, oh, okay, my audience is actually awake later at night, not 3 o'clock like the rest of the world. You know, here, you know what I mean? Or it might be that
And
the
a
rest
lot
of
of what we do is
waking up
back end. You know, like the
or
consumer
about to go
won't
to
really know
yeah.
any of this. It's more like this is what we need. This is what the marketing department needs, and nobody else needs to know about it. It's
Yeah.
just what we need to like strategize. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Yeah. So I see that we have one question on the Q&A that says, what was the impact of the analytical tool on your campaigns since you started using it? So, I mean, I know we know about the retention going up 80%, which is absolutely fantastic. But what is the, I mean, you obviously have a couple of customers. So what's the impact, you know, to you, your business, you know, and the customer?
Double digits. That was the impact from single digits
News.
to double.
I like that. Yeah, yeah.
From single digits to double digits. I
Okay,
think
so we'll
in
do
terms
that. We'll
of
do the
profit,
next story in a couple of weeks.
I think in terms of profits, I made double what I made the whole of last year in 2 months.
Oh, that's amazing. That's
So that's
amazing.
what I'm saying, double digits, man. Yeah. So that's the sort of impact it's had in terms of reporting to clients and then keeping those clients.
Exactly. And of course, I mean, it's due to the good work that you're doing with the augmentation of analytics, right? And having the statistical proof to actually, act on the data, what the data is telling you.
Yeah, it takes away the stress of like our main objective is to hype, right? We're a hype machine.
Exactly.
That's what I market us as. We're hype machines. We're gonna go in there and be a fan of your brand. Okay, so to have analytics is like it takes away that stress. It's just the analytics into that, and we can go do our hype thing. We can focus on just being hype machines instead of focusing on now, how much exposure did we reach, how many retweets do we have, all of that stuff,
Exactly, and that I want to come back to the why. We can explain the why behind the data because you can actually drill down and analyze, and explore. So when you were drilling down, I was going to say, okay, make a selection, and then let's go see, who are those users, who are those tweets that are coming through from that selection. But you can take it to that level. It's of course very easy. It's just exploring your data. So great, thanks Enrico. Really, really nice webinar together with you. Great story you've told us about your business. Really appreciate you sharing with us today. And yeah, it's been a total fun. I would, we probably don't live so far apart. We can get together and have a beer. I think you. Really nice.
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. Which area are you guys located in?
We're in the east, Joburg East. Yeah, Bedford View.
Okay. Oh, okay, yeah, okay, great.
Yeah.
There's actually a comic book store that's near there. They're massive, so yeah.
The warehouse is around the corner as well, so let's meet there.
You'll give me an excuse to go there and get my comics.
Fantastic. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks so much for having me. I just want to say I truly appreciate the opportunity and obviously for having the honor of using your Insights Hub and being able to just work with you guys going forward. I'm really excited about it.
It's a great collaboration. We're not going to stop it for sure. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Eric.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Right, thanks.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for participating. Have a good day further. Hope you found some insights and some useful information in this webinar. Thank you again for your time. We know everybody is busy, so appreciate your attention. We have recorded the webinar, so we'll be sharing it post-production, editing, taking all the bloopers out. We'll send the bloopers in a different clip.
Put a nice music undertone, put some introduction graphics.
Well, make us all look good. Yeah. Put the filters. Excellent. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day further.
It's like blinding.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
What do I do? Do I just exit?